It's time for the Blue Blows Podcast with your hosts, Alonso and Juan, Alicia Del Valle, and the babyface gimmick in the sky, Roger.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team, and remember to use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
And making a return visit to the carne asada is Dodgers' number one prospect, Dalton Rushing. Dalton, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Spring training season. It's been hectic out here in Arizona, but getting closer to the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, last time we had you on, it was right after the All-Star break, right after the Futures game, right? We spoke to you now. Here we are, spring training, what, maybe another week-ish or so, right?
Yeah, week and a half, and everyone will break and go their ways.
Yeah, so how has spring been for you? I mean, how has this spring been, maybe compared to some of your past springs?
Yeah, being in camp early on was really cool, man. That's a pretty cool clubhouse to be in, especially every single day. Seeing the way that everybody goes about their business. It was pretty cool. But I personally got 10 at bats over there, so it was one of those things it wasn't even more about the performance as much as it was just being around the guys, getting to know them. So when that time comes, whether it's 3 months, 4 months from now, or it's 8 months from now, I get a call that says, "Hey, you're gonna be in LA." I don't walk in and see new faces that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So you were up when the big league camp, right? This time around,
start.
right? Okay.
Correct.
So was there anything that you were preparing or preparing for 2024 specifically going into the new season?
Man, honestly, from an offensive standpoint, I really just wanted to carry over what the last 6 weeks of my season looked like last year. Following the concussion, being able to get my feet back under me and just play the game the way that I play it. Felt really good to finish strong last year. Came up a little short in the championship series, but like I said, I felt great offensively, and that's what I kind of took into the off season to move into spring training. And defensively, there were a few tweaks, and it was just more of finding comfort back there more than anything, and preparing to be able to catch as many games as I can possibly catch in 2024. So that was a little bit of an adjustment, but I mean, I've been handling it really well. Body feels great, and like I said, I'm excited for a big 24.
And you were a part of something new that MLB did this year with a MLB Spring Breakout. Cody has a couple of questions for you about that breakout experience.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been a pretty new thing for MLB this year where they're introducing the Spring Breakout series. I had the opportunity to go to one in the Grapefruit League, and I thought it was a great experience for the players and the fans. But I'm interested to hear what you thought of the game and kind of the atmosphere, even though it did start raining for you guys near the end. But kind of just your thoughts on the whole new series. Is there anything that you didn't like, or would you change? Interested on your thoughts.
Man, the idea of it is one of the greatest things that MLB's came up with. I think that you could see tons of talent, very young talent at that, on the field at once between organizations. And I mean, everyone knows the Dodgers are loaded, top to bottom. We roll guys out there that are 19 years old that other organizations would think they're 25, just the way that they play the game. And so that was cool. You put that group of guys out on a field to start a game, and I mean, everyone saw how it kind of played out throughout the game. We just kind of put a whooping on them for a little bit. But you kind of get to set yourselves up and see, hey, how do I match up against the other top guys in the country? And that was pretty cool for me. You get to see some young talent on the field, like I said, and that was kind of eye-opening for some of our younger guys to even be on the same field as some of the older prospects, I guess you could say. It kind of just shows them the right way to play the game, and it allows everyone to obviously go out there and just have fun.
Yeah. And then another question, obviously this entire winter, the excitement for a lot of Dodger fans was there just for everything the team has done. But what I thought was really great that we've seen is that the amount of preparation that any player on the roster was putting in throughout the offseason. And I think you were in a bunch of clips from other players. Like I believe Walker Buehler posted a video, and then there was like a quick glimpse of you catching one of his bullpens. How do you view just kind of the way these, major league players put in the work, and does that inspire you to like work a little bit harder? Is it great to get like kind of collaborate with these guys and pick their brains, and just kind of your overall thoughts on the preparation of a major league player?
Yeah, it was cool. I spent about a month in LA before coming out to Arizona, and weren't many people out there. You had your Shohei, Walker, Mookie was in and out. Like there were guys coming in and out, but I think the coolest thing for me was when I play the game of baseball, it's like I try, no matter who I'm playing against, who I'm playing with, my goal is to not make it known to be the best player on the field, but make sure everyone knows, like, hey, he can play at any single level and hang with anyone you put in front of him. So when I'm like catching guys like Walker, it's like I took it really like to heart the second I started catching him. It's like, all right, like I want to know how he likes to pitch, and I want to know exactly what he wants to throw in what situation. The time of me catching him in an actual game may not come from months down the road, maybe even a year, but that's kind of the way that I just like compete, and the way that I play like the game. It's like, all right, when I'm catching him, I want to master catching him. Even though that was my first time catching him, I'm like, all right, after 5 pitches, I got to make every single one of his pitches look great, because I want to make sure that he himself wants me back there when he's on the mound. And that's kind of a compliment that I can take. If I'm doing everything that he likes back there, it's pretty cool to have a pitcher that wants to throw to certain guys.
Yeah. And then last question for me, until I throw it back to Roger, kind of looking at the Dodgers farm system over the past couple of years and leading into now, it seems like they are really loaded at catcher. It seems like every year there's a new catching prospect that comes out. Is there just something that you think that the organization is just doing well, whether it's developing guys? You played in college at Louisville. Is there anything that you take from the college days and bring it over to the MLB, or is it just something that Dodgers are doing better than, I guess, other clubs around the sport?
The Dodgers do such a great job of obviously the recruiting, the development side of things, but I think one of the biggest traits that the Dodgers carry so well is the act of competing. And so that's something we talk about day in, day out. Like if I'm stepping in the box, number one thing on my mind is I'm competing. I'm competing against the guy that's 60 feet in front of me. And same thing when I'm catching. It's like I'm competing against the guy that's right in front of me in the box, and I'm making sure that I do whatever I can to help the pitcher be set up for success. Sorry. And so like being around all these catchers that are coming up, the new names popping up, Lorenzo, like great guy, had a huge season last year. Like being able to surround him around other guys that compete really, really well only puts more fire into himself, where he can just go out and play the game at a higher level.
Okay. And then actually one more question is, I mentioned that you did play 3 years in college. I feel I've kind of had this like running theory in my head where it seems like a lot of catchers that get drafted with college experience kind of have a faster track to getting to the show. Is that kind of true in your head? Because, we've seen a lot of catchers being drafted about almost a year or two ago that are already making their MLB debuts this year. The one I can think of off the top of my head is, the Pirates with Henry Davis, and he's kind of all around athlete now because they're moving him around the field. Do you kind of feel like there's an advantage there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just like, it's how well do you know the game? And going to college for me personally was one of the biggest blessings in my life, because it taught me the game, taught me the way to call a game, taught me the way to go about a game from behind the plate. I learned a lot of things. I wasn't ready at the age of 18 to step into a world like this and play this game day in, day out. So after those 3 years, like I said, I just learned more and more and more about the game. And obviously I'm as in love with the game as it gets. So it's like I'm taking in every little piece of information I can get. And yeah, I for sure can agree that it helps your path a little bit. You watch some of these younger like catchers that get out here, and like they might be tooled out of their mind, but at the end of the day, a catcher's got to be able to like control the game up top, and it's like that's gonna be the hardest thing. What are you gonna do when you lead off a game and you call a pitch that lead off homer? Boom, you're down 1-0 after one pitch. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna think about it for 8 innings, and then lose 10-1, or are you going to think about it for those 3 seconds and call the rest of the game shutout? That's the difference in a great catcher and an average catcher. And that's kind of like what I've taken into heart. I learned that a lot in college. Things I could control, not calling pitches, or couldn't control, not calling pitches in college. Now I get to call every single pitch, so it's more like I can really take pride in every single pitch that I call and understand, like, hey, this is what I did great, this is what I did bad.
Awesome. Roger, back to you.
So you had mentioned it, you were up in big league camp, you were at Dodger Stadium, working out early. Dodgers, like you mentioned it, they have, just studs all around, right? Highly ranked. And they have one of the best catchers in the game, right? Will Smith. And then you also have Austin Barnes, one of the most respected guys on the squad. What have you taken away from working with those guys and talking to those guys in camp and, at Dodger Stadium?
Will's a great example, man. Obviously, arguably the best catcher in baseball. The way that he just goes about his business every day, it's pretty cool. It's cool to be around. It was cool to see it each and every day. But like I told you earlier, it was like, all right, I'm around you now, Will. Like, now I want to start competing the things that you do really well, and I may not do well. I want to do just as good as you. I want to be able to float right there by you. And obviously you set your goals higher. You're like, oh, I want to be the greatest catcher to ever catch for the Dodgers. Like, that's what people tell themselves. And being able to surround myself around a guy like Will only makes it easier for me in the future.
I was at camp, a couple of days earlier in last month, and just the amount of people there, not just media coverage, right? Just the amount of fans, obviously, that are coming out this year specifically. I've never seen nothing like that.
It was crazy.
What were your interactions like with fans? Like, when you see so many fans out there, like, what are your typical kind of interactions with fans this season?
It was crazy. First, to begin that, you have Shohei, you have Yamamoto, Glass. Every new face that the Dodgers have this year. We would walk out of the new outdoor facility right by in Camelback. We have this new little indoor facility. You'd walk out of there and you'd have to go through a little gated way to get to the fields. And so that little gated way, each and every day, from the day that spring training opened until, honestly, when they left for Korea, the day they left for Korea, that little area is packed. You have from little kids to diehard lifelong Dodger fans to people that have flown here from Japan to come in and get autographs, meet the players, all these different things. Each and every day, they're screaming your name. Makes you feel like you're walking down a red carpet. And that's almost like the Hollywood lifestyle that you live as a Dodger, especially now. Like, the team that they have, the team that they've assembled, and the team that they're carrying into this season is one of the greatest teams ever put together on paper. Yeah, it was nuts, man. It was the most people I've ever seen in one spring training setting ever in my life.
You touched on it, right? All the signings the Dodgers made, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glass now. How, when you're obviously in the organization, what was your kind of reaction when you saw, hey, they signed Shohei, then they got, they made a trade for Glass now, and then they signed Yamamoto, and then they still continued making deals, right? Bringing back like Kike Hernandez and stuff like that. As a player in the organization, like, when you see these things, like, what are you thinking? Like, how does that make you feel?
Great. Just be better. That's what I tell myself. Just be better. It's like, it was easy for me. I kind of went through it in college. It was freshman year. I come in and we have Henry Davis on roster. He's catching off the bat. He's not missing a game back there. Same way my sophomore year. And it's like, I came in as a freshman and I could have turned around and just been like, all right, I don't want to catch. Like, I'm not going to catch. Just give in, throw all my cards in. But no, I was like, no, I'm playing. Like, I don't know where I'm playing, but I'm playing somewhere. And come to find out, they're like, hey, you ever played first? I'm like, no, give me a glove. I'll go play it. I didn't care. And that's kind of, I think, similar. Like, it's a similar situation. We have Will, we have Barnes back there, but it's to the point, like, hey, we have a super team. I get it. But guess what? That just means you got to be that much better to make a team like that. And no one wants to just go out and be able to say, hey, I'm a big leaguer with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm a big leaguer with this team. I'm like, it's different. When you say you're a big leaguer for the Los Angeles Dodgers, it means a little more. And so, like, that's something I kind of take pride in, to be able to say, like, hey, no matter how hard it may be to make that step, I'm going to do whatever I have to do it.
I mean, I feel it's great for the game, right? I
Absolutely.
you see a team that's willing to spend to win.
Yeah.
There's this huge narrative like, oh, it's bad for baseball what the Dodgers are doing, like, right? I mean,
it's just like what I'm saying. It's every other organization should tell themselves be better. If you have the room to improve, don't sit here and hold it back. Just be better. It's that simple. If you don't want to be able to compete with the other teams in the league, guess what? You can be that team that's the last team in the standings, middle of the pack of the year, end of the year, whatever it may be. Like, you can be that team, but nobody wants to be that team. The Dodgers have a dying love for winning, and so they did whatever they had to do to make sure that they're going to win X amount of games. And I think they're going to do exactly that. 1-1 to start the year, it's baseball. Like, this team's going to win 105 games.
Dodgers already started the season, right? 1-1.
Yeah.
Korea series. There's rumors, next year they might be in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You as a player, like, I mean, is there one of those places you'd love to go and start a season at? Like, going to Korea or going to Japan? Do you think about that too? Like, hey, that'd be really cool to go to Japan or something like that.
Yeah, they've asked, like, people ask me, like, hey, what's your goals this year? I'm like, look, I don't set personal, like, number goals. I just say, look, I want to help the highest team in this organization, the Los Angeles Dodgers, win whatever games I can help them win, whether it's June, July, September, August, like, doesn't matter the month, like, middle of the year, late in the year, whatever it is. I just want to help them win and do my job. And so, like, that's my goal going into the year. And if next year I'm looking in a position to be able to get a spot and go to Japan to start the year, great. I just want to do whatever I can do to make sure the Los Angeles Dodgers have the best chance of winning.
Cody, you got anything else for Dalton?
No, I think he answered everything great. Super excited. I'm looking forward to your 2024 season, especially in the minors. So wish you luck then. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Roger.
Thanks for the time, Dalton. We appreciate it. Best of luck in 2024. And hopefully we'll catch up with you during the season sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
This episode has been brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here.